In Tai Chi Chuan, the first movement is called commencement. And most people just, in the beginning, it's just, do you know where your hands are moving and can you kind of make a move in a circle and can you kind of do it? But that is a raw beginner. That's someone who's never done Tai Chi before. And a beginner in Tai Chi is not someone who has never done Tai Chi before. Technically, they should be called a raw beginner, a neophyte. I know, or as the well-known TV show goes these days, Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. That's it, you know nothing. Okay, great. You can't write the letter A. That's a raw beginner. But from the point of view of somebody who's going to, let's say, read and write, until they know the alphabet, they're still a raw beginner. And after they know the alphabet, when they start learning grammar and this and that, they're still a beginner until they can actually write something and somebody could understand. So we're kind of proceeding from the point of view of a beginner. We have programs, I have programs that show a raw beginner right from the start what to do. We have mastery programs, how you do this movement, this movement. So we're kind of assuming that's already kind of happened. Now in Tai Chi, very commonly in China, it's said that you are a beginner at least for the first 5 years. That's very, very commonly. You would never go in front of a master and say you were anything but a beginner before you had been doing Tai Chi regularly for 5 years. But that's regularly, not just that you showed up and you did it once in a while. So there's all sorts of different standards that are applied. Okay? But what we want to look for now is that in Tai Chi, the first thing is that it's about relaxation. Now, relaxation is going to go through stages, but the one point I want to make to you is that you can't see relaxation inside the body until you're very highly trained. You can see that a person looks relaxed rather than the fact that, let's say, they're super tense, you know, going like this in their body. But if we then start really talking about relaxation, the first thing we have to consider is this. The goal of a beginner is that, Kirk, can you do the first movement of commencement? Is that if now we take the muscles of your body, you need at least halfway to your bone for those muscles to become like butter, to become totally relaxed with no tension in your forearms, totally relaxed with no tension. Now, an intermediate student, for example, which will come later, has to be able to do it right to their bone. I mean, every muscle to their bone is totally and completely relaxed, not as their mood. I'm in a relaxed mood. I'm in a very relaxed mood compared to what I was yesterday. No, I'm sorry. You may be in a relaxed mood or you may be in a tense mood, but that's got very little to do with whether or not your muscles are relaxed or not. I actually saw somebody once in my youth in New York saying how much cocaine relaxed them. Okay, I have no doubt God knows what their normal mind was like, but if you notice, I'm pressing into here. So when you're doing something, and you're making a motion, and you're making it with your chest, or you're making it here. And this, I must admit, is a hard place to soften and relax. And you're relaxing your belly. You're not relaxing the surface of your body. Relaxing the surface of your body, kind of what you can feel is, just going around. That's the beginning of learning a form where you just learn how to you learn choreography. It says nothing about what you're doing inside. You have a computer box, you just don't have any chips in it. Okay, so now we're talking about chips and we're talking about programs. So that's the first thing. So now we have to just keep in mind that you can't do it all at once. So, for example, if you were just starting in terms of going that deep inside your body, let's just say you took your hand, and as you're going up, you're just going to focus that my hand is going to relax. And how are you going to know that it really relaxed? Well, it's going to be very simple. If you haven't relaxed the rest of your arm is going to be less relaxed than your hand is. And you have a contrast. You have something that's not vague, that's not ambiguous. And you go back and you do it again. And the next thing is going to be, okay, now you're going to do it with your wrist. And it's going to mean everything inside your wrist. So we're only talking about muscles now. Ligaments and tendons have to have other procedures. Ligaments don't really relax. They spring in certain ways. But eventually, you can relax your tendons. You can relax your ligaments, especially your ligaments. But that's a little bit later. So that's great. So you get that and you go down. So, okay, so fine. Now, you're doing, but it's your mind that's penetrating inside your body, because I highly doubt you're going to have someone who's going to be standing around you just squeezing your muscles to give you the feedback loop. I mean, you never can tell. You might have some interesting friends in your life, or live in a third world country, you can hire a servant for, pennies a day. But if you don't have that, what you have is you have your mind. So now you go, wait a second. Okay, see, it's pretty easy to relax a hand. Ooh, forearm gets a bit more of a stinker. It's much harder. So how do you do it so that you're just sinking? You're just letting everything go. And don't be surprised when you do this if you feel twitches, if you just feel your body going strange. But that's going to come next. And then we do it again. And so the next thing is you're going to do it with your upper arm. Here we go. We got the upper arm. Most people find that when they get to the juncture between their shoulder and their upper arm, oh boy, that's a really big block of tension. It's hard to release. But still, you have to, and that's the reason why when you're doing Tai Chi, that your shoulders are always completely relaxed and sunk. But the fact of the matter is that they can be more relaxed than they are normally, but are the muscles actually going right in toward the shoulder, right inside? Are they actually becoming soft? Muscles that are soft and have tone can become twice as tense as a normal muscle. They have more function. But still, if you want to get chi to flow in your body, you got to get it soft. So you keep on going down, so you come down again. You bring that in here. And then, okay, wait a second. Wow, now you're going to pick your hands up. This, very often, this area in a lot of people is just a rock. It's just a rock, and you can lift weights and all that, and I might make it stronger, but you're still going to get a lot of pain out of it. So now, as you stew it, you want to let this, and you want to just start releasing that depth inside your body. Okay, that's your depth inside your body. So you come back again. And what you do actually is that you would, okay, make the first movement happen and just hang out. Once you can get all the way back, let's say into the upper back, because relaxing your upper back's not easy. Just hang out there, and can you just relax your muscles halfway to your bone? When you let your wrist extend, can you relax it halfway to the bone? And from that state of being relaxed halfway to the bone, you let your hands go out. And then you let your hands come in again, and maybe you got to do it one joint, maybe your wrist, a forearm, an arm, or you get it so you can do it all together. And as you start coming in, you got to let that softness just kind of happen. And then you hold it there. Many people find this position to be a particularly difficult one to let their tension go. It's a freeze, it's a natural freeze point in the body. So you just keep on letting it go. You keep on letting it go. Wait a minute, you let it go in your forearms, your upper arms here. You let your chest go, you let your belly go, you let the muscles in your back go till they get soft. And then you let your hands go down. Now you see, okay, now we just stop for a second. Wait a minute. Oh, as soon as I started to do that, I felt my shoulders begin to get a little bit tense. You know what that tells you? Just go down a little bit and release what's in your shoulders. And then when your shoulders have really softened, then let the rest of your arm go down. Oh, maybe this time it's your elbow that starts to get really tense. So let all the tension halfway down to the bone go, and then let your hand go down a little bit. And so forth and so on. Maybe you're here, and all of a sudden you feel your ribs, and you feel everything else, and you feel your chest tightening up. Okay, wait a second. With your mind, let it go. Let it soften. The trick is it becomes softened. It becomes gushy. And then, when you feel it, let your hands go all the way down to the bottom. So now Kurt's just going to do the whole thing, and he's going to make it a flow, and he stops wherever it is he can feel, uh-oh, that's not soft. And then use your mind to make it soft. Because, you see, it's not about knowing what to do. It's about training it. It doesn't matter, you can watch all the pictures or all the movies of sports about, watching people, skiing down Mount Everest or this or that. But you got to practice skiing if you actually want to be able to do it. Watching someone in the process of a fast movie about how they learn something, remember, a lot of learning is training. Training is where you can replicate it on demand. Understanding something is you know what you want to replicate. That doesn't mean you can do it. And you want your body that when you tell it to relax, it listens. So that's the first one. That's muscles. Now, we go to something else. Now you're going to your nerves. So as you just stand here, just feel your nerves. Feel are they jumping? Feel is there any kind of inside you? It's very easy when you're very stressed out just to get incredible nerve streaming. It's quite common, especially in modern workday worlds. So now, okay, so we're going to do it again. So again, he's going to bring up his hand, and now his muscles are relaxed. Now he wants to start feeling for nerves. And wherever he feels the nerves tighten up or go fast or be jumpy or what, he stops. And now with his mind, he lets go of the nerves. He lets go of the nerves. Remember, your nerves are telling your muscles what to do. So if you tell your muscles and you don't tell your muscles are not going to get most of the message. So now that's fine. Then you come down. And where do you feel? Wherever you feel your nerve build up, you stop. Like here, you just stop. And you go through, like right now, I'm directly interfacing with his nervous system. You can watch his body kind of letting go from the inside. I'm not messing with his muscle, I'm messing with his nervous system. I'm changing the quality of the signals running through the nervous system. And so he goes down. And remember, you got to straighten your legs up at the end. But when you want to straighten your legs up at the very, very, very end, wait a second, does that make you tight? And if it does make you tight, what does it do to your nerves? How does it make your nerves tight? Open your nerves. Remember, the principle of Sung is opening. If you open your nerves, if you open your blood vessels, your chi will flow. So now as this happens, just kind of notice, what's going on here? Okay, so now we want to look at the next thing. If he does it again, and he really releases, and he really relaxes his joints, stop, something's going to happen. As he really relaxes his joint, he's going to feel the inside of his joints going to start to open. But you have to reach a certain level of relaxation before the joint will start to open of its own accord. Yes, there are techniques for opening and closing where you can control that rhythm. But the first step when you're looking at Sung in Tai Chi is just the sheer fact that the joints release from inside themselves. And this requires the muscles and the nerves be releasing. Because if they don't reach a certain level of release, the joint won't release. The muscles or the nerves will tell the joint to stay slammed shut. Okay, so you keep going, you do it now, but now you release your nerves. You want to relax your nerves. The way you're going to get your hand to go out just for this moment is not going to be by pushing it, is not going to be by directing it, is not going to be by saying my hand should go out, just by releasing your nerves until your joints open up, and the joints opening up makes your fingers move forward slightly. Okay, now you're going to come back in, but when you come back in, wait a second, whoa, you gotta let those muscles and nerves until the joint just starts folding into itself. Just like gravity, if you hold it here, it'll pop into itself. And you stop like now you can see that you're having, like some internal conflict, like your body's not really listening, it's not sure. Okay, wait a second, great, love it. Just now let the nerves go. Wait until the relaxation leads to the nerves, leads to the joints releasing. And then when you feel the joints have released, continue the motion. And you stop wherever you need to stop, remember. The muscles, then you have to let go of the nerves until the joint starts releasing from the inside. And that could cause it to either open up or to come back slightly into itself. All depends upon, shall we say, which way gravity's interacting on it. Now, as we get down to the end, just for a moment, even just standing like this, let the muscles go, let the nerves go, let the joint open up from the inside. Now comes the next one. If you've got all of these going, what is surrounding all your joints and all your muscles? Blood vessels. Wherever your chi goes, your blood goes. So that means that you want your blood vessels to open around your joints. But that's kind of a difficult thing until you arrive at a very high level of sensitivity to be able to feel if that's occurring. But the one thing you can feel, whether it's blood or even other fluids in your body, is that when blood moves better, when those little capillaries start filling up with blood, it creates heat. Just like when you sit in a sauna and you walk outside, you're still hot because your blood vessels have opened up. And you start walking very fast, your body starts heating up. That's blood movement. So now, just standing like this, muscles, nerves, let the joint open until you can start feeling heat happening inside your joint. So you got the hand joints, the wrist joint, the elbow joint, the shoulder joint, the area here where your collarbone comes in, all your ribs into your sternum, your back, your neck. Let the blood start coming in now. This sort of thing is absolutely critical for Tai Chi therapeutics. It's absolutely critical for Tai Chi as a martial art. It's just critical for longevity. Good blood flow equals longer life. So now you do commencement again. But now you're going strictly. How do you know you've done the 4? You're feeling the heat go into the joints. You're feeling the heat around the joints. And this is letting you know that the blood is moving through. Smooth, even release and flow within your muscles, your nerves, your joints, and your blood vessels. So here we want to be focusing on your body letting go. Now the important thing is that when you practice, you could be practicing just, okay, I'm going to do 20 repetitions of this, or I'm going to do 10 repetitions of that, and 1, and 2, and you could do that. And that is the normal way of physicality. But here, just in doing the first movement, or I should mention, you're doing this in every move in the form, you want to make sure that first, you've got to get your muscles to release. Then you've got to get your nerves. And then at some point when the nerves release enough, the joints are going to start opening. And then when the joints open enough, and all 3 of these happen, that's when you're going to find out if you're getting a flow and the heat starts happening in your body. Now these principles here that you've just done is inside of virtually everything in Taoism. It's also inside Xingyi and Bagua. It's also inside seated meditation. It's also inside Taoist yoga. Because the principle of Song is something that goes throughout all of it. For example, my first book was called Relaxing into Your Being. And the actual term, which I didn't want to use in the 90s, was Song Xin. Because Song means everything opens up as I've been expressing it, but at a spiritual level, and Xin means your heart, the whole of your spirituality. But since nobody knew any Chinese, and since these foreign words were freaking people out to nobody's belief, just like all these Sanskrit words we know now, 100 years ago, they freaked everybody out when they heard them. Honestly, they didn't know what the word was, and nobody likes to admit they don't know what something is. But the fact of the matter is that this goes through everything, because the same process also has its exact parallels in meditation. And this process of how you open up your body is not going to be different if you're sitting or doing Taoist yoga or doing martial arts or doing Tai Chi. It's just that this incredible emphasis on Song. Tai Chi emphasizes a bit more than, let's say, Xingyi and Bagua does. But Xingyi and Bagua does it as well. Because there are 3 things. Relaxation, which is what we just went through. Everything we did now comes under one simple term, relaxation. It's actually Song. The second thing is that from relaxation, Then we have to talk about how relaxation causes your chi to sink, sinking chi. And then we have to talk about how sinking chi causes your body to lengthen, to have all the knots and compressions in it open up inside your body. Now bear in mind, all of this is invisible. So using your intention, using your mind is extremely important. Kurt, how long have you been doing Tai Chi?
About 30 years now.
And is there anything you'd like to share about that last thing? I mean, this is just kind of like, you know, the beginning commence, so I know that and all that kind of stuff that you'd like to share with people?
Well, I found that exercise very difficult. It was very glitchy in my body. There were places that were open and places that weren't. And as we went through the muscles, the nervous system, the joints and the blood flow, it was really difficult. It was not smooth. The places were open and there were places that weren't open. It was not easy.
For even people who are in the intermediate part of this program, you may want to go back and do this too. This looks really easy, what I just said, and I made it sound like it was a piece of cake. It's not. Because we're really talking about the ability of your mind to genuinely interface with your body and your chi. And most of what happens at that level is completely invisible. So I just thought I'd mention that. Next time we're going to look at relaxation from another, and I would say possibly, as a matter of fact, I would say most definitely deeper perspective. So have a good time practicing. And what I would say is that if we take these 4 things, start with a few days, start with a week. Hard to say how long. Just work on relaxing your muscles. Then spend another couple of days on relaxing your nerves, or as many days as you need. Until then, you make the relaxation of your muscles and the relaxation of your nerves become one thing. Then you play around with that for a while, and if you know. And then you start playing with, wait a second, okay, I got relaxation in my nerves, I got relaxation in my muscles. Now, that needs to release my joints from the inside. And then finally, when you get all that stuff together, and don't try and do step 4 until you get the first 3, I'm telling you, well, maybe you'll be the 1 in a million that can pull it off, but generally it can't be done. Then you can start looking at the heat, because it's going to be the muscles and the nerves and the inside, the joint releasing, that's going to unlock what's going to start opening up the blood flow in your nervous system. Well, until next time, have a good time practicing this month, and see you for segment 9.